So, Magatte, we're talking about in countries that have been captured by an ideology or whatever, particularly in Europe, have continued to elevate energy prices, actually shrink what they make here, I think lower the standard of living of lower income people. But if we look in the developing world, I think of India or Indonesia or Vietnam, their energy consumption's growing rapidly, their standard of living's rising, actually an incredibly positive trend.
Yeah.
Maybe even reinforced a little bit by their energy cost advantages, drawing more manufacturing there that's being exported out of Europe. Is there a case for optimism? What's going to drive the progress in Africa, for example, your own country of Senegal, or European countries or policies and Western policies going to be able to strangle that? Or is Africa and Senegal going to move forward in its own way and avoid some of the lunacy we're talking about?
Yeah, no. So for me, the reason why I'm very optimistic, at least for Africa and the rest of the global South, even though, yes, we have our problems, is because we definitely are not buying into the nonsense of the West. We really are not. And maybe I like to tell people, on us, the signal is not lost in the noise. I think in the West, there's so much noise. There's too much noise. All of this it's noise. All of these people playing around. But us, the reality, and I think some of you called it realism, climate realism or something. I think we're very much in the thick of it. When you're well below your 4,000 kilowatt per hour, consumption, it's right there in your face. So we don't have the luxury of the nonsense that you guys have just subjected yourselves to. We just don't have it. And so it's saving us right now, honestly. We're looking at the West and I kid you not, we are thinking, what is it that they're smoking over there? What is it? And our youth has no patience for any of this nonsense, including the identity culture wars. We don't have patience for any of that. Again, the reality keeps us grounded because we've got bigger problems than any of that stuff. And so the signal is not lost in the noise for us. So that's the reason why I'm super, optimistic about it. But where I want to tell the West so our people are going to fight. My president is fighting back because we found large reserves of oil and gas in Senegal. And of course, everybody else is trying to tell us not to tap into it. But of course, we're going to tap into it. And if they're going to try to tell us, if they're going to try to force our hand by closing their bank accounts, which, by the way, with ESG, that was another nasty marriage, right? Some financing corporations could not finance fossil fuel-related projects and infrastructures because ESG, supposedly. So if the West wants to play that nasty game with us, we're going to turn over to China. And does the West really want that? Because if you think we're going to sit there and wait for death, you are blinding yourself. So this is what's going to happen. But either way, we're going to get it. And once again, I will tell the West, how much more suicidal are you going to be? You're doing that to yourself, and meanwhile, basically pushing an entire continent on the hands of China, which supposedly is by now, I think everybody's talking about how the CCP, and let's be clear, we're talking about the CCP, not the Chinese people, not per se. So there, to me, that's what I'm seeing. So bottom line is, we are not going to sit there and just wait for death. We're going to do something. And it's going to be up to the West to take a lesson from us and or say, hey, we're going to turn around. So I don't know.